more open
It's
to.
it takes the first person jump,
Yeah.
and that's hard.
That's why it's repeated. It's the first time I've seen that. Taking it. I've got another one over here.
All right. Let's go ahead and get started. We appreciate everybody being here. Are we ready and recording? Very good. We'll go ahead and begin the Harriman City Regular Planning Commission meeting for this Wednesday, February 7th. We appreciate everybody being here. We'll go ahead and begin with Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by our own Lauren.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So by way of roll call, we do have 6 members of the Planning Commission present at this time, and we do have one online virtually. Heather Garcia is participating online for us, and she will also be a voting member to finish out and round out our quorum for the night. With that, we do have a few items on the agenda, so I would just like to ask if there's any conflicts of interest by any member of the Planning Commission for those. Seeing none, I'll move on to item 3.4, which is an approval of the minutes for our January 3rd Planning Commission meeting. Do I have a motion for approval on those?
Motion to approve
A motion.
the minutes of January 3rd.
Okay, motion by Preston,
Second.
second by Andrea. All in favor? Aye. All right, we'll move on to item 4.1. Sheldon, review and consideration of a conditional use permit for an indoor recreational business.
Okay. As Andy mentioned, this is a request for a conditional use for indoor recreation. It's the wrong PowerPoint. Would be the pickleball. Okay. All right, the location of this use is going to be in the Port of Rockwell development on the south end there of the city. It's going to be within a building here that's currently occupied by the applicant. He actually leases the entire building. What he's proposing is, well, I guess just due to the market, he's reducing his initial business, his original business, and moving on to a different type of use here on this building. So he is the tenant. He does lease this entire building. So the 3 units here that are shown, these units here will be utilized for 6 indoor pickleball courts, totaling about a little over 17,000 square feet. The 2 units 5 and 4, will still be maintained as his, he has a wholesale company there. The site itself can accommodate 98 parking stalls. Per the requirements for this particular use, for these 2 uses combined, I'd say is 11 stalls for the wholesale side of it and 24 for the pickleball court. So you can see here the parking provided exceeds those minimum requirements. This is the floor plan. As you said, it's going to be 6 pickleball courts and some restrooms and a rest area. One thing that staff did take in consideration, and we did speak with the applicant on this, is the demising wall between the pickleball use, the indoor recreational use, and the wholesale. That demising wall, when it's constructed, should include soundproofing materials to mitigate any of that sound transferring over to the adjacent units. Other than that, as I mentioned, it does meet zoning standard requirements. The conditional use, as I mentioned, we are requiring a soundproof wall and a demising wall. Engineering had no concerns, this being a TI. That being said, staff does recommend approval with the following conditions.
Very good. Do we have any questions for Sheldon on this one? Okay.
The applicant is here if you'd like to speak.
Very good. Yeah, we'll turn some time over. If the applicant's here, would like to provide, is there any additional information you would like to provide that we need to be aware of?
No, Sheldon's been amazing. He's pretty much done everything.
Okay.
Done my job for me, so we're just hoping that you'll approve it. We're just hoping that it'll be a nice place for everyone to come play pickleball. So,
Great. Would you mind stating your name for the record,
Henry
please?
Bonin,
Henry, thank you for being here tonight.
nice to meet you all.
Any
Thank you.
questions for the applicant?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, any discussion? The Planning Commission seems pretty straightforward.
Yep, I'm ready to make a motion. I move to approve item 4.1 with staff's 3 recommendations.
We have a motion by Adam,
Second.
second by Forrest. We do a roll call vote for this. We'll begin with Heather,
Yes.
Tara,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
Forrest.
Yes.
And Andrea.
Yes.
All right, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Henry. Appreciate you being here. We'll move on to item 4.2, which is review and consideration of conditional use permit for installing fiber network equipment cabinet.
Okay, as mentioned, this is a conditional use for fiber, for a utility substation as defined by city ordinance. It's located off of Rosecrest Road, here on a lot that's owned by Riverton City, where Riverton manages their water infrastructure. Anyways, it's going to be located on the southwest corner of the lot. What they're proposing is a utility substation, which includes a fiber utility cabinet, which is 7 by 3 by 5 feet in height. It'll be installed on a 9.5-foot concrete pad. As I mentioned, the parcel is owned by Riverton City, and they do have a lease agreement with Riverton City to place that on their property. Again, this is just a street view of the location of the equipment cabinet. It will be placed somewhere behind this transformer here.
It looks very similar to the one that's on the left side of this
Left
image,
side
though,
there,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
And here's an example of what that installation would look like with a very similar cabinet. Again, as I mentioned, it does meet the standards under city ordinance. And going through conditional use, we're just looking at ways to at least mitigate some of the aesthetics appearance of that cabinet. So we're just asking that cabinet, if it is installed, to be painted in a neutral color, something to just help blend in with the scenery, not necessarily the rest of the equipment boxes there, but
Sure.
anyways, yeah. So staff does recommend approval with the following conditions.
Okay. Thank you, Sheldon. Any questions for Sheldon?
Oh, this one's straightforward.
And we have someone here from All West, if you have any
Straightforward.
questions for that.
Yeah, if All West is here and would like to provide any additional information for us, please come forward, state your name for the record, and
My name is Andy Thompson. I'm representing All West Communications tonight. As maybe you've noticed around the town, All West is installing fiber optic in many neighborhoods right now. Hopes to have basically available for everyone in the city within the next several months. These cabinets are a vital part of that. It's where they boost the signal and also separate it and send it out to the right people. Other than that, I think he explained anything unless you have questions
Okay.
for me.
no, when you come into my home. But anyhow, no. Anyhow, appreciate you being here. Any questions for the applicant tonight?
No.
No, very good. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate you being here. All right, any discussion from Planning Commission, or willing to entertain a motion as well?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve item 4.2.
Okay, have a motion by Adam,
Second.
second by Forrest as well. We'll go ahead and do a roll call vote as well. Andrea?
Yes.
Forrest?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Tara?
Yes.
And Heather?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much. That motion passes as well. Thank you for being here. Okay, before we move on to item 4.3, the next two items are up for public hearing. So I just wanted to read the public comment, Harriman City's public comment policy and procedure. The purpose of public comment is to allow citizens to address items on the agenda. Citizens requesting to address the commission will be asked to complete a written comment form, which we have blank ones in the back, and present it to the city recorder. In general, the chair will allow an individual 3 minutes to address the commission. A spokesperson recognized as representing a group in attendance may be allowed up to 5 minutes. This policy also applies to all public hearings. So we'll move on to item 4.3, which is a review and consideration of a preliminary subdivision plat. Sheldon.
Okay. So this request for this preliminary plat is to subdivide some property located off of Rose Canyon Road, off of Rodeo Way. Here's the parcel. As I mentioned, it is currently zoned as A121, which allows them to subdivide this parcel into half-acre lots. The intent of this time is not to subdivide the entire parcel. I'll show you here. It's just to subdivide the southern portion with lots having access off of Rodeo Way. They're proposing a two-lot subdivision. Both lots are exceeding the half-acre requirement. Therefore, that is consistent with the zoning, the base zone regulations for lot sizes. Again, here's the plat as they are presenting it. Looking through the conditions of approval or requirements per city standard is precast wall would need to be installed along 6400 West, as Rose Canyon Road has been designated as a collector road in our city's master transportation plan. The drive approach here, I can show you, the drive approach here along 6400 West needs to be removed and reconstructed to city standards with the curb and gutter. Again, this is the location of the precast wall. Another consideration that we need to address is just the clear view on that corner to ensure that any plantings that go on that corner do not obscure the clear view on that intersection. I'd also like to mention too that on 6400 West there is an easement held by Rocky Mountain Power for power line, transmission lines, so that may restrict what type of trees they can actually put along that, if they are allowed to put any trees there. But that will be addressed again during the final plating process.
They're overhead power lines or
Yeah,
under-
overhead power lines, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Again, staff does recommend approval with the following conditions that I just outlined previously. If you have any questions for me, I'd be more than happy to answer those. We do have the applicant here as well to address any other concerns.
Very good. Any questions for Sheldon on this item? Okay, thank you. Yes, at this time, we'll go ahead and let the applicant come forward to provide any, go ahead and again state your name. I'm assuming you're Bill. But,
Yes, I am Bill Garcia. This is my dad, Bill Garcia. This is his property.
Okay.
I'm his son, and happy to answer any questions you've got. The property is being subdivided for the beneficiary of me and my two sisters.
Okay.
So me and my sister are building the two lots that you see on the plot now, and then the future development would be for my second sister. In the future, she's probably a few years away from being able to build a house.
Okay, very good. Any questions for the applicant? All right, thank you, Bill.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
you
you.
being here. So it is now time for the public hearing. Before I open it, I just want to make mention that we did receive 2 comments prior to this meeting from Amy, I believe Bogenreef, provided comments, as well as Jane Atkinson. You're more than welcome if you're here tonight to provide additional comment or anything that way as well. But we did receive those comments already and have reviewed them and appreciate you providing that information. So at this time, though, I will go ahead and open up the public hearing for public comment. And if anybody would like to provide comment, please come forward and state your name and provide comment.
Craig Atkinson. I live on 139th South and 6275 West, I guess. We have concerns about what Phase 2 would be, because it would obviously be on our street, which is historically 1 acre minimums. That's one of my biggest concerns. Now, like Mr. Garcia would probably know better. It was like 15 years ago, they rezoned your property there when they were doing Ken Cove and stuff. There were caveats at that time when they rezoned it and coats across the street that, to that A121, that you would never build anything on 139th South, and that you would repay the guys from Rodeo Acres for the road and stuff there.
So let's go ahead and address the comments, just
Okay.
kind of in general,
And
not
it would-
necessarily to him, but just provide your comment.
I'm just verifying.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
it was my belief at that time, I was opposed to it being rezoned then to the A121. I believe it should have always stayed an A143, because when they developed Rodeo Acres, hence the name, they were 1 acre lots. It seems unequitable to allow someone else to come in and do half acres in the same subdivision and benefit from their work and their road and their stuff. Plus as I said, there were caveats at that time that they would never build on 139th South. Same with Coates across the street. He was told he could sell half an acre off, but he could never build on it. Again, my opinion is that they were mistakes made then that you have a chance to rectify now. I don't know what else to say about it from there. So.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate your time, appreciate you being here.
Okay, thank you.
I will allow you 30 seconds. You can, we're just taking comments, so there's no, yeah.
Number 5 that was up there mean, I don't understand. You had a list of,
So anyhow, we can talk about that after you're done. So yeah, we'll address that. We'll take comment now. We'll address that later. But yeah, right now we're just taking comments, but we can address that. I believe Sheldon did answer that, but we'll allow him to answer that as well when we're done with the hearing.
My name's Jane Kelleher Atkinson. I'm Craig's wife. I live on 139th South. And I just wanted to add, and I think you already have a copy of my comments, that as many of you might recall, we went through this process, a similar process in 2020 regarding a proposal known as Oakley Estates that was proposed for a 5-acre property located on 139th South. And again, this has to do with the fact that our main problem is with what phase 2 is, and it's kind of undefined. But at that time, we came to the meetings and we opposed it, and there was strong opposition in our neighborhood to the development, and the Harriman City Council voted 4-1 against the rezone. And additionally, the Planning Commission, you guys recommended a denial of 5-1 by the Harriman Planning Commission and passed that along to the City Council. So there's strong support by Harriman City to enforce the 1-acre minimum on 139th South. And while we understand that development is inevitable, we think that the existing zoning ordinances should stay the same. And it seems counterproductive that every time someone wants to, they've outgrown their home or aged out of their home or want to subdivide, we have to keep going through this. It seems that there should be some consistency by the city to stay with the zoning that we had when we moved there and that you've consistently agreed to, and now somebody else wants to change it, and here we are again. So we would just ask that we have some consistency in our zoning, which was 1-acre minimum, and you agreed to that before, and so why are we here again? I also would like to say that if we set a precedent that we're going to go to 1/2 acres, that's not going to bode very well for our low-density housing, which is why we moved there years ago. We didn't want our property to be, we didn't purchase our land so it could be a development for us down the road. We purchased it because we wanted to stay there and live there. So thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment? All right, seeing none, I will go ahead and accept a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, we have a motion by Forrest.
I'll second it.
Second by Adam. All in favor? Aye. All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing now at this time. Maybe just a couple of discussion items to bring up. You had mentioned item 5. I believe that was, thank you for bringing that up. There's currently a driveway approach on 6400 West on that one parcel. And so they will be required to remove that approach. They're not going to be allowed to have access on these lots to from 6400 because 6400 now is designated as a collector. They cannot have any more accesses on 64, and that's kind of the designation, individual accesses. So that's what that's all about. There are obviously some lots further on there that are allowed because they've been grandfathered in at the time, but any new development is not allowed to have access to that. The other thing maybe I'll just bring up is, as it was brought up about previously and some of the discussions that was taken back in 2020 and the denials back then, that time was a zoning change that was being requested at the time. And so we did not, we did recommend that it not be approved, that zoning change. However, this is a little different. The zoning is already there on this property. So that's not what they're requesting at this time. And we cannot even look at the future, what that future lot right before us now is this 2-lot subdivision. So that's the only thing that we can, discuss, approve, or deny, or whatever is this current application. Whatever happens in the future, they'll have to come back at a later date. So I just wanted to clarify those couple of things.
And they may not work on that land. That's a different discussion for a different day, right?
Different discussion for a different day. So right now, before us is this 2-lot subdivision that's before us. So just for everybody's benefit. So with that, is there any other thoughts or discussion from the Planning Commission?
Based off of the approved zoning that council,
Yeah.
passed back then, we kind of have
Yeah, the zoning.
nothing to do related to the zoning. So with that, I see no reason, so I can go ahead and make a motion.
Okay.
So I move to approve item 4.3 with staff's 5 recommendations.
I have a motion by
Actually,
Adam.
I want to modify it. I want to add a 6th that says this is only for this phase,
Clarify. This is-
just to be clear as possible.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Adam and a second by Preston. We'll go ahead and call for a vote on this item as well. We'll start with Heather,
Yes.
Tara,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
Forrest,
Yes.
Andrea.
Yes.
All right, that motion passes as well. So we may or may not see you in the future, but, all right. With that, we will move on to item 5.1, which is a review and consideration, review and consider a recommendation to amend the Harriman City Annexation Declaration Policy. Michael, on this.
I think this is the 3rd time we've talked about this. If I remember right. So as the commission is aware, this is a public hearing on a policy amendment. We've stated on the public hearing announcement that this is not a consideration of an annexation petition at this time. However, the city council has authorized the city administration to prepare an annexation petition for properties that the city has previously acquired, currently in unincorporated Salt Lake County. And we're looking at potentially trying to annex that property into the city. It's vacant, undeveloped property that was acquired as part of the Army Compatible Use Buffer Program, where there's some federal dollars that are being spent to preserve these properties. Anyway, so again, no annexation petition is being considered as part of this policy amendment. This is the current annexation map. Every city by state code is required to have a policy and have a map indicating where we think we may potentially receive annexation petitions from. Like in the case I just mentioned, it's possible that a city may initiate a petition, but generally these petitions come from private property owners. And again, the state has a number of requirements for how that is managed. Ultimately, any petition is approved by the Lieutenant Governor's office in July, and in January is when they become effective. So this is our current map. As the commission is aware, there have been some recent annexations into South Jordan. So areas that were previously unincorporated are no longer eligible for potential annexation into Harriman. And so we're essentially just amending our map and updating our policy to be compliant with state code. So this is the new map. Everything is south of 118th South, goes to the county line, which obviously goes to the ridge line essentially of the Oquirrh Mountains, and then south to Utah County. This is the process that's required by the state code. So we previously had a public meeting where we noticed that, but it was not a public hearing, that allows for a 10-day public comment period from any of the affected entities. We send out a notice to all of the communities around us, as well as some registered public interests. We have not received any comment or questions about our proposal. Again, this is fairly routine. We followed that with a public hearing announcement for tonight's meeting. And then the city council will hold another public hearing at their meeting, which I believe we've already have scheduled for next week. We've already sent out well, I know, we've sent out the notices for that as well. And then once the city council conducts that hearing, they will be the final decision maker on amending the policy. So your role tonight, again, is to hold a public hearing. If you have any discussion about the proposed amendments, and then we're recommending that you forward a positive recommendation to the city council for approval.
Very good. Any questions for Michael?
I had a quick question. Do we have a plan for that area?
Which area?
Like the hillside area, I guess. Is that what that would be?
So the
Yeah,
west,
the
any,
annex area, sorry.
oh, any of the
I know
area
it
to the
kinda
west
said
is what she's pointing at.
recreation, but-
No, as you know, that has a very low-density agrarian, development pattern. We have no plans on annexing anything west of Harriman. I've been here 6 years, and we do periodically get interests or requests from residents or potential developers in that area. But yeah, we have no intention at this time for any annexation in
But
that
could
area.
it be like housing, or is it too?
I mean, south of the city, of course, this is all foothills, right? This would be all part of that military buffer for Camp Williams.
Okay.
Open space, but nothing residential in mind. And then, yeah, west of the city would most likely be residential, because that's the current pattern, or agriculture. So, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for Michael? All right. Thank you. With that, we will go ahead and open the public hearing for any comments. I don't believe we received, you mentioned there's nothing already received, so I don't see anyone else here. So with that, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Adam. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Tara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we'll close the public hearing at this time. Is there any discussion or any thoughts by the Planning Commission? We've seen it. Seems pretty straightforward. Motion then.
I'll go ahead and make one.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion. This doesn't.
It's to recommend approval of the city
Okay.
council, right? That's
what
the,
That's
yeah.
what's it. I'd
Yeah.
like to make a motion to recommend approval of item 5.1 to city council.
All right, we have a motion by Adam.
Second.
Second by Forrest. Call for a vote. We'll begin with Heather.
Yes.
Tara?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Forrest?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Very good. That moves forward to City Council for recommendation of approval. All right, with that, any comments by any member of the commission tonight? All right, seeing none. Next week is Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. Michael was reminding us, so. But it's also City Council the next Wednesday. And then 2 weeks from today, on February 21st, is our next Planning Commission meeting. I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Adam, second.